Good afternoon, everyone. We'll just wait for a few more seconds for everyone to come in this interactive webinar that we have for you in 5 tips to make your business social media more appetizing. My name is Jesus Padilla. I am the Assistant Director here at the Florida SBDC at FIU under the BizGap program, which is a business growth and acceleration program. As we have two great consultants, Michelle Cava and Emily De Armas, that will be presenting in today's topic. Some general housekeeping items. In case you have to step out, answer a phone call, don't worry, all participants will be receiving today's presentation along with the recording of today's webinar. Definitely, I strongly encourage you to like and subscribe our YouTube channel as we have a plethora of pre-recorded webinars to enhance your business needs. This is a good opportunity for you to introduce yourself. What social media channels do you have for your small business and in the food industry and restaurant? Or what platforms are you curious that you'd like to embark into? Michelle and Emily are well versed in the topic and will definitely guide you some of different tips to elevate your social media content. And without further ado, if you have any questions, strongly encourage you to put in the Q&A throughout today's presentation. We'll be more happy to moderate those questions on your behalf. So I want to introduce Michelle and Emily for today's webinar.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. So my name is Michelle Cava. I'm one of the consultants here with SBDC BizGap program. I started my career on Wall Street, so I've been learning about businesses and brands my entire life. Today, I help businesses like yours in areas of marketing, sales, and brand development. And I'll give it to you, Emily.
Hi, everyone. I am a consultant here with the SBDC, and I'm a former media exec. I worked at Telemundo NBC, and I was part of the founding team of social media. So that was a while ago, but I know all about the ins and outs of managing social media, and I've worked with major advertisers. At the SBDC, I can help you with social media specifically, and also anything that has to do with digital marketing, your website, the content that you're putting on your website, and really helping you hone your messaging.
Jesus, are you going to take this?
Yes, the Florida Small Business Development Center is a resource partner from the SBA. Since 2014, we have worked with over 8,000 small businesses that has resulted over 124,000 hours of consulting. What is BizGap? It's a business growth and acceleration program. Is also a grant that we have received from the Small Business Administration. And some of the core activities, it provides a hyper-local consulting, training, and outreach to small businesses in targeted communities and commercial corridors. It provides an additional toolkit for small businesses that are looking to scale and start their business. Some of the outcomes in part of the BizGap project, we have canvassed, we've gone door to door, understand some of the pain points, some of the areas and needs that small businesses need, along with introductions and resources throughout the county. We met with over 300 businesses, and over 300 businesses have attended our trainings, along with consulting as well. This year's BizGap project is funded by a grant by the U.S. Small Business Administration. The BizGap project focused on the 3 core activities, which is the training, the outreach, the canvassing, along with the one-on-one business consulting. And our goal is to work with 1,000 small businesses in this calendar year from trainings and workshops. Along with Emily and Michelle, we have 5 additional consultants to assist you if you're looking for international trade, operations strategy, access to capital, and starting your own business. And along with the Florida SBDC team here in Miami-Dade, we have 15 specialized consultants as well that will be able to guide you and assist you. And if you're looking to branch to the Florida Keys, we have 3 great consultants that can also assist you from Key Largo all the way down to Key West. And now I'll present it back again to our esteemed presenters.
Thank you, Jesus. So one thing I forgot to mention is that I have owned brick and mortar businesses that actually social media helped so much in terms of scaling those businesses, acquiring clients, and making those businesses profitable to the point where I could sell them. So I can speak to the power of social media, and if used correctly, how it could really help you with your profitability. So let's talk about one of the most powerful tools that we know is at our disposal, but sometimes we just don't give it the respect that it deserves, and that's social media marketing. So as you can see here, social media is not just a trend. It's an incredibly effective way to market your restaurant for a variety of reasons. One, because it allows you to connect directly with your customers, share your story, and showcase what makes your restaurant unique. But here's the thing, creating an effective social media presence is just as important as having a great sign outside your door these days, right? It's taken over the yellow pages that we knew so well. So your profile pages are literally like your virtual storefront, your virtual restaurant. And you want to make sure that they're inviting and that they make potential customers hungry for what you're serving. So I want you to think about seeing mouth-watering photos, behind-the-scene glimpses in your kitchen, your chef's story, because what we want to do is build curiosity and build trust when potential customers visit you. So let's talk numbers a little bit and why social media is an absolute game changer for your business. Over 1 billion searches for restaurants happen every single month on Google. That's why I have this picture of these nice people on their phone, right? Today, everybody's on their phone discovering products and services. That's 1 billion opportunities to get discovered as a restaurant owner. 3 out of 4 customers are using platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to decide where to eat. I'm one of those people. I moved here 4 years ago from New Jersey and immediately went into TikTok and Instagram to find places to eat, places for entertainment, and made a long list that I'm happy to share with everybody of the places I've been to. So what that means is your next loyal customer, like myself, might already be scrolling through social media right now, searching for the next dining spot, which could be you. The best part about social media is building a presence on a completely free platform. And I think that's the part that we need to embrace the most when it comes to marketing, because we know that we need some type of an investment when it comes to our marketing efforts. But how we can embrace social media is by accepting that it is a free platform that allows you to connect with your potential customers at no cost, right? It's a tool. It's a way food businesses connect with their customers today. So whether you're posting your specials, showcasing behind the scenes, these platforms, again, help you build relationships and also drive foot traffic to your business. So I want you to ask yourself, how are you leveraging social media today to connect with your customers and to stand out among the billions of searches happening every month? The difference between, I won't even say that, successful companies understand the value of direct engagement with their customers. And that's exactly what social media platforms allow us to do, is interact in real time. It allows us to get feedback on, your food, your service, and it helps you keep your finger on the pulse when it comes to your customer base and what they're looking for. So when someone tags your restaurant in a post and leaves a comment or even shares a story about that experience, that is an open invitation for you to connect. right? That's when you want to respond quickly. Because you value their input, and it helps you strengthen loyalty, assuring that they come back. Sorry. So here are the 5 tips for more appetizing social media. Tip number 1 is to know your customers. And I'm sure you've heard this plenty of times from either working with myself or Emily, because literally that's the secret sauce to showing up to your potential client the way they expect you to, right? So taking a good look at what's working and not working for other restaurants on social media can actually help you excel and help you put forth some drool-worthy food photos, engaging reels, or irresistible specials because you know your customer. Tip number 2 is understand your service model. Your service model, whether it's dining in, take out, or delivery, should shape your social media voice and branding, and highlight what makes your experience unique and craft content that resonates with your ideal audience. Tip number 3, getting to know your customers, right? So building an ideal customer profile. Who are they? What platforms are they using so that you're posting on the right platforms and not trying to be everything everywhere? So for example, if your crowd loves Instagram stories or TikTok trends, then that's where you want to focus your energy. The key is to meet your customers where they are already. Tip number 4 is defining what success looks like to you. And I know it's important that we compare ourselves to our competitors, but we as business owners, as restaurant owners, need to know, what does success look like for our restaurant on social media? Is it, potential customers making more reservations? Is it increased delivery orders or growing your followers? So you want to set clear goals and track your progress to ensure you're hitting the mark. Then the last tip is knowing the benefits and the downsides to each platform to maximize your social media print. So each platform has its pros and cons, right? Instagram is perfect for mouth-watering visuals, while TikTok is more for creative short videos. Facebook is great for building community. So know the strength and challenges of each to get the most out of your efforts. And remember, your social media strategy is like a signature dish. It's carefully crafted, full of flavor, and uniquely yours. So think about which of these tips you can implement today to make sure your social media is appetizing as is your food, right? Your homework assignment after this webinar today is to conduct competitor research. It's something that I see many customers not do, and they tend not to know how to position themselves via social media or even with the menus or new products and services that they deliver. So I encourage you to do this, because many successful ideas start by observing and adapting to what others are doing well and what they're not doing. One of the best ways to do this competitor research, and I did this when I owned my nail salon as well as my hotel, is that I would go into Google reviews and I would look at the top 3 best reviews and the top 3 worst reviews. And within that space, I could tell what I did well or what I was possibly missing the mark on, and then go back to my businesses and correct it. Okay. So your homework assignment is to identify 5 competitors in your market and ask yourself, what platforms are they most active on? Is it Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or something else? How often are they posting? Are they consistent? What kind of content are they sharing? Is it all food photos, or do they incorporate customer stories, behind the scene looks, or promotions? What are they excelling at on social media? Is it engagement, creativity, or clear calls to action? And then on the flip side, where are they falling short? Are they missing out on responding on comments? Are they using outdated visuals or neglecting a platform altogether? Once you analyze this, think about how you can apply your findings to improve your restaurant strategy. Something I've been seeing lately, Emily, and I don't know if you've seen this too, but I'm noticing more and more, especially fast food takeout restaurants are doing like specialty dishes that are limited supply. Like it's just happening for that 1 week and they give you FOMO. And in marketing, whether it's social media or email marketing, it's that FOMO that drives the client to the doors of your restaurant. So I want you to think about when you're doing this competitor analysis, how much FOMO are those competitors igniting in their potential clients? And then how much FOMO are you also igniting in your clients? Do you agree, Emily?
Definitely. And I think too, like I see this all the time, even just on Uber Eats, where it's a restaurant like Pincho Factory, for example, will have like the burger of the month, right? And it's just for that period of time. And every month it's going to switch out. So that's something that you can build into your menu and probably just kind of remix ingredients so that it's cost effective as well and you're not missing out. But as Michelle is saying, it creates that sense of FOMO and people want to come in and get that burger.
Right. And I feel like it also helps too with like your marketing strategy going into the next year, because if it really works, then this is something that you can implement again the following year, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel and come up with new ideas for food for that's unique. So back to service models, I want you to think about what is your service model, right? Because this is going to influence your social media strategies and targets moving forward. Now, there's 4 main service models in the food business. There's fast food, where your focus might be on quick, eye-catching content. You're going to think about vibrant food shots, promotions, and deals that appeal to customers seeking convenience. There's the fast casual, and here you'll want to balance quick service with a hint of quality and atmosphere. Highlight fresh ingredients, modern interiors, or unique menu items that make your restaurant stand out. The third is casual dining, which is a model that's all about creating a welcoming experience. So in this instance, you're using social media to showcase your ambiance, share staff stories, and invite customers into the warmth of your dining space. And then the last one is fine dining. And for this category, it's all about sophistication and exclusivity. So you're sharing elegantly plated dishes, wine pairings, and the artistry behind your food to attract a clientele seeking luxury, right? So understanding these distinctions is essential because each service model targets different audiences and has unique messaging needs. And where social media strategies help is that work for a casual dining spot may not resonate with a fine dining audience, right? And vice versa. So we talked about the different service models and how they influence your operations and social media strategy. So let's take fast food, for example, right? Fast food generally has low cost of goods sold. They have low labor costs and high overhead. So the focus for a fast food service model restaurant is that it's more on efficiency, speed, and affordability. So on social media, that would translate to promoting deals, combo offers, and showcasing how quickly customers can enjoy their favorite meals. Now, on the other spectrum, which is fine dining, it operates mid-range cost of goods, high labor costs because your chefs are more experienced, and mid-level overhead. So here, the emphasis shifts to quality and exclusivity, and social media content should highlight elegantly plated dishes, the craftsmanship of your chefs, and the luxurious dining experience you provide, right? These distinctions are really critical. A fast food establishment thrives on high volume traffic. So their campaigns may focus on, driving foot traffic with promotional content, where on the other hand, fine dining caters to a niche audience that values the story of the restaurant, the sophistication, and the artistry of the dining experience. So let's explore and examine these great examples of how service models influence marketing strategies. And by the way, I just recently had a meeting with the founder of Payway. He actually bought the chain from PF Chang's, so they're actually not owned by the same company anymore. But I forgot to make that change here. But they once were, and so it's still a really good example. Payway Asian Kitchen versus PF Chang restaurants. At one time, they had the same parent company. Their approaches to branding, client targeting, and marketing are completely different, right? They're going after two different target audiences, and the service models are different. So PF Chang's operates as a full-service restaurant. It offers stylish interiors, a more upscale dining experience, and larger ticket-sized dishes. And their marketing focuses on creating a luxurious and memorable experience with an emphasis on ambiance, elegant plating, unique culinary craftsmanship. Now, on the other hand, Payway is fast casual and unique, and it has a unique culinary craftsmanship. But it's fast casual, prioritizing convenience with a smaller menu and a focus on takeout orders, not necessarily sitting down like PF Chang's does, right? So its marketing leans into speed, affordability, and accessibility, showcasing fresh, high-quality meals ready for busy customers on the go. So here's an example of two ads. One is a Payway ad, it's an ad, a social media post, and the other one is PF Chang's. So what makes this example so powerful is how both brands target different client needs, right? Even under the same ownership at that time. So they cater to two different client bases. So if you look at the left, it's more affordable. They're talking about winner, 2 for $20 chicken dinner. Even the wording is very casual. It's for a limited time, so that FOMO feel. And they're offering 2 chicken entrees for $20 Mondays through Wednesdays. They even use a word that, speaks to urgency and quick pickup, which is be sure to run, not walk to our local Payway, right? So again, distinct branding, distinct marketing, whereas PF Chang's is, hey, bring your friends and family, come have a seat, have a holiday dinner in our dining experience. And they speak about the artistry of the food and the ambiance. So for your restaurant, the key is understanding your service model and tailoring your marketing strategy to fit your customers' expectations. Whether you're fast casual or fine dining, aligning your messaging, branding, and pricing with your audience is critical for standing out in the market. So I want you to ask yourself, how are you aligning your service model with your marketing efforts today? And just to reiterate, the service model, the whole point of knowing it is to allow you to target the right potential customers, to create a proper voice and build a brand that's consistent and recognizable, where customers associate you with, a feeling of hunger for a specific food or for a specific experience. So now let's talk about finding your customers. And your business might not need to be on all social media platforms to be successful, right? I know some high-end chefs that they don't even post on Instagram or Facebook. They actually focus mostly on catering. And so they go straight to LinkedIn. They may have like a brochure or some type of link to the past events that they've done with their menu capabilities. And so they'll go to LinkedIn and find those corporate accounts, right? So again, knowing your customers are so important because it's going to help you identify where to show up and how to show up. And a great place to look for research is the Pew Research Center. And here's an example of what you can find there. So it will let you know, it aggregates data on like who uses each social media platform. You can even filter by age, gender, race, ethnicity, house income, education, community. And then it also tells you which social media platforms are the most common. Okay, so in this example, it states that YouTube and Facebook are the most widely used online platforms. And half of US adults say they use Instagram, and smaller shares use sites or apps such as TikTok, LinkedIn, or X, and Snapchat. So ask yourselves, where are your customers? What is your standard target market? And use the Pew Research to do your market research so that you can identify your demographic data, identify the population changes, the gender, income levels, age ranges, education levels, right? Because all of these are markers for the type of service model these type of target market clients would go for. And then a final factor to consider is, where can your food business best engage with customers on social media, right? So again, all platforms are not created equal, and we want to take advantage of the features to better promote your business. Now, it's important as business owners for us to determine what is success for us. And the way to do that is to measure our marketing efforts, right? And to ensure that our marketing is having a positive impact, we need to focus on key methods like marketing analytics. Here I'm talking about tools like Google Analytics or social media insights to track web traffic. So each platform gives you insights as to what demographic is, engaging with your content, what best times, there are for you to actually posting that are individual to you, to your business, to your customer engagement, and to the campaign performance that you've chosen. So this helps you understand what's working and where adjustments are needed. Then we have search engine optimization analysis. And this is how well your restaurant ranks on search engines for relevant keywords. So are people finding you when they search for local dining options or specific cuisines? It's really important that you improve your SEO because you want to ensure that you're visible where it matters most. KPIs, I'm sure you've heard this time and time again, key performance indicators. These define specific goals for your business, okay? So for example, are you aiming to increase reservations by 20%, boost delivery orders, or grow your social media following? You want to track these metrics to measure progress against your own objectives. Lastly, return on investment, ROI, super important for us, making this investment in marketing. And In this case, it could be sweat equity because you're creating the content and posting yourself, or it could be that you are investing in an agency or an individual to manage your social media. Every dollar on marketing should lead to a measurable result. Okay, so whether it's more orders, increased foot traffic, or higher ticket sizes, calculate the ROI of your efforts to ensure your marketing budget is being well spent. All right, so focus on these metrics. You'll not only identify what's working, but also uncover opportunities to fine-tune your strategy or even greater, your success as a profitable restaurant. Engagement is an overarching term that reflects how your audience is engaging with your content. So some tips to boost your engagement is to really be consistent with your posting and being really consistent with your brand, like identity, right? Colors, fonts, the type of pictures you're using to showcase your food. You want to be consistent with that. Make sure you're following the calendar, you're scheduling posts regularly. I've had some clients have a hashtag library because they know specific hashtags that work for their cuisine, right? So like Peruvian food hashtags are going to be different than Asian food hashtags. Use high resolution photos and videos where possible. Be super intentional, like have purpose when it comes to your social media posting and also measuring the success of what you're posting. And lastly, like use real customers and real employees when you're posting on social, because this personalizes your brand and it creates a stronger connection with your audience. And the statistics and the analytics will prove that it's the right way to go. Clearly define and measure what success is for you on social media. So think about, if you want to increase followers, how can you do that? And are your efforts really increasing followers? You have to be social on social media. You can't just post and hope that everybody's going to come and like and follow. So it's important that you're engaging with them when they're commenting, and that you actually go out there and find hashtags within your community so you can find more potential clients. Increase in shares, encourage people to share your social media, increase in likes, and increase in engagement. Super important, you document all these numbers. You want to know how you're doing from when you started, right? You want to have that comparison so that you don't feel like the social media efforts are falling to no good. There's value in the information of the analytics that they each provide. And lastly, you won't know success unless you measure it. I can stop sharing, Emily, and give it to you.
Sure, sounds good. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about how to choose a platform. As Michelle mentioned, and I'll get into this a little bit later as well, you don't need to be on every single platform. That is a very quick recipe, pun intended, for you to just get completely and utterly burnt out, especially if you are handling social media on your own. So you want to make sure that you are thoughtful about which platform you want to use. Can you guys see the slide change? Because it says at the top screen sharing pause. So I just want to make sure that the slide changed. Yes? No?
I
It
just
didn't.
put the full slideshow view.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Oops, sorry. Hold on. Let me stop share and then I will just take you back. Sorry about that, technology. It would be helpful if you could see what I'm talking about. Okay. So how are you going to start determining which platform is best for you? You want to narrow down which platforms ideally your target customer is hanging out on. But there are some other pros and cons of each platform that you should consider, depending on what some of your goals are in the future and what you're trying to do. So for example, Meta is the company that obviously owns Facebook and Instagram. They also have Threads and WhatsApp. With Facebook and Instagram, what's important is that you can basically cross promote and you can connect both of the platforms. So you're kind of getting a twofer. If you're posting on Instagram, it will also go to Facebook. How effective that is probably dwindling a little bit just because Facebook is not really what it used to be as far as driving engagement. There's some new platforms out and the landscape on Facebook has kind of changed a little bit, but it is beneficial that you can actually connect them. And actually, really, when it comes to Facebook, I would say the main benefit of having like a business page, for example, for your restaurant is the fact that you can run paid advertising, which to me is really the part of Facebook that you would want to be leveraging the most. Because when you run paid advertising on Facebook, if you're connecting it to your Instagram, you can also have ad placements that will also show up on Instagram. A lot of businesses out there really just rely on kind of one main social platform along with their website. But you need to determine where your customers and where your competitors are to figure out which would be the best platform for you. In most cases, I'm going to say that Facebook is outdated as far as it being your main platform. If we're looking at kind of the major brands, it should tell you something that the last time Coca-Cola posted on their business account was August 2022. There's not much going on there if one of the biggest brands in the world that has quite a lot of funds to be able to spend on marketing is not putting their effort in something like Facebook. If you did want to play around with Facebook, again, the main benefit to me is the fact that you have the ad platform, so you can do very targeted Facebook ads. You can target them locally. You could create a special offer and run an ad to create interest. Let's say if you had some kind of new customer offer where, if they buy something, they get a cup of coffee for free or they get a dessert for free, something like that. That might be a way that you can drum up interest and increase foot traffic into your actual restaurant or increase orders. Or let's say that you are going more towards the catering side, you might want to consider something like a Facebook ad. And you could target busy professionals that might be interested in, let's say, kind of a meal service. The drawbacks really is the fact that most younger people are not on Facebook. There are some, privacy concerns with Facebook and also concerns with bots and things like that. And when you're posting on Facebook and Instagram in general, organically, it can be a little bit harder to grow because the entire platform is kind of designed to force you at some point to run ads to gain reach. It's not impossible at all for you to have some success organically if you're really committed to it and you're creating unique and interesting content, but ultimately they want you to do ads, right? So I would say either go there because you want to do ads, but if you're looking for organic growth, there are other platforms that might give you some more bang for your buck, so to speak, or at least the time and effort that it takes to do social media. So Instagram is kind of a no-brainer when it comes to food, just because it started off as a very visual platform. For a long time, you could only post images on Instagram. And so because it's very focused on visuals, it has a strong kind of foodie following. And there are quite a lot of restaurants, food brands, food bloggers, food influencers that are creating content on Instagram. What's nice about Instagram is that there are multiple ways to use it. You can, of course, post an Instagram reel. You can do stories. If you had, let's say, products or orders, maybe that's something you could play around with in the shop. But it's a nice platform for creating customer engagement by using those photos and those visuals. I think stories is a really nice way for you as a business to create that sense of FOMO that Michelle was speaking about, because you could run specials on stories like today only for the next 24 hours. if you come in, you'll get this extra special, or there's a 10% off just for our Instagram followers. You can play around with that in the stories because they disappear. And that's a good way to create engagement and get people to watch your stories on a more frequent basis if that's something that you want to build into your marketing strategy, if you find that it actually works and people start coming in. The benefits to Instagram is the fact that it's pretty standard for most restaurants and food-related businesses. If you run an analysis of your competitors, chances are they're probably on Instagram. You can also create challenges. You can create user-generated content. So people tagging your restaurant, if they go out and they eat there and they post their own photo, that also shows up under your account. You can make use of hashtags to try to create more discoverability on the platform. And it is an opportunity, if appropriate, to collaborate with food bloggers and with food influencers in the local Miami space and get them to come in to your restaurant and report on it, essentially, and provide that content. Some of the drawbacks are the same from that we talked about with Facebook, which is the fact that if you do have a business account, you're just not going to get necessarily the same reach as somebody with a personal profile. The ads do have a good return on investment, but you have to really hone what it is that you're doing. You have to be very intentional with the kind of ad that you're putting out. And you have to understand, what is the purpose of this ad? Do I want more bodies through the front door? Do I want more reservations? Am I trying to, let's say, create bookings for holiday catering? If you have a very strategic objective and you have ad creative that really matches that, then your Instagram ads can really go a long way. But you have to, I think, be very careful with just throwing money at posts. If you want to boost posts, for example, focus on things that already have a little bit of traction. Focus on those things that have done well in the past. A boost is exactly that. It's going to boost something that's already kind of doing well. It's not going to help something that tanked do better. You can also look at some metrics that are just out there. They're public, so you can see your competitors, how often they're posting. You can take note of how many followers they have. You can't really see deeper analytics beyond that, but if you do have a business account, it will give you access to some of that information. When is your audience mostly interacting with you? Kind of what are those peak days and peak times? And through that, you can start to take that feedback and create content and a strategy that will get you better results. So YouTube is another option. It has grown quite a bit, especially on the tutorial side, on the how-to video side. There's tons of content out there for recipes and things like that. If you are a restaurant, I'm not sure that YouTube would really be my go-to recommendation for you unless you have a chef that is really trying to be a thought leader in that space. If your goal is to drive business, there's probably a way that we could come up with that YouTube might be able to help you accomplish that, but it wouldn't probably be my first choice as far as social media and where to be spending your money. YouTube really, to do it well, you need to have very high production value. And I think it's helpful if you're already at a very steady level with social media and maybe you're looking to scale or just do something different. It is a great option if you are looking for a captive audience, but it does definitely require a lot of regular posting and a lot of commitment. The YouTube algorithm will favor your channel if you are very consistent, and it takes quite a bit for you to be able to grow and see that ROI. One of the benefits for YouTube is that you can create long form content on YouTube and then you can chop it up and use that as the basis for other social media platforms. Restaurateur or a chef can create a sense of clout and establish their name by sharing things like cooking tutorials. Although I think if that's your goal, a better approach might be to get on some of the channels that are already doing this as a guest. If you wanted to leverage your chef or your chef had a name, trying to get interview in media, I think might be a better way to leverage something like YouTube, which is really the best of both worlds because you don't have to do the work. You can just show up on somebody else's channel who's already done the legwork of creating that. Some of the drawbacks I would say to YouTube is the fact that the quality really does show. So if you are producing content, it has to be the top quality for it to be successful on YouTube. And you also need proper editing. So that comes with the territory of creating good videos that it's edited well as well. Businesses, sometimes can't post that consistently. We all know that you're wearing multiple hats, you're doing a million things. YouTube is something that is going to require quite a lot of effort. So I would say it's something that you can potentially do further down the line. Or maybe if you have a food brand, you could leverage the ads. Let's say you were selling a product, you could leverage ads to run on a lot of the food related content, and that might be a good use of YouTube. Twitter is something that you could potentially leverage for restaurants to create a daily special or an event. But there has been quite a lot of backlash with Twitter recently, especially with the change in ownership. I think right now it's kind of trying to figure out what it is. It used to be kind of great for quick updates and things like that, but I think you can make use of that kind of a tactic with something like Instagram or some other platforms these days. I wouldn't go out of your way specifically to create a restaurant-centered Twitter. I think, especially with restaurants and food, visuals are so important that I would lean into the platforms that are really designed for that, like TikTok. So with TikTok, and I'll show you an example later on, you don't always have to showcase the food. It's a way to kind of showcase your personality as a brand, your positioning as a brand. It's much more than just the dance videos. People are really looking for local recommendations. And one of the most powerful things about TikTok is the algorithm and the fact that unlike something like Instagram, it's quite easy to get discovered on TikTok. It's quite easy for people to come across your video, and that gives you a lot of traction, especially if you're leveraging some of the trends, and especially if you can get people talking about your restaurant through TikTok. That's a way to kind of spiral and snowball the effects of TikTok. Some of the benefits is the fact that it is quite popular with Gen Z and millennials. That will depend on your target audience, if that's who you're trying to reach. If that's not, then potentially TikTok might not be for you. You have to make that determination based on who your ideal target is. It's easy to produce videos. It's not something where you need extremely amazing quality. You can have fun and play around with some of the trending sounds and leverage some of these other styles of videos that don't necessarily always center on food. The drawbacks is that there is kind of a learning curve to creating content, and restaurants are a little bit newer on TikTok. And if your target audience is older, that might not be the best place. The other thing with TikTok too is that trends come and go extremely fast. So it's something that you need to be mindful of when you're creating content, because things that worked a month ago will seem completely passé if you're posting them now. There also is conversation from a governmental standpoint about TikTok. There have been efforts to either ban it or restrict its use. So if you do invest in creating a platform on TikTok, just know that that is something that could potentially affect you in the future. Regardless of platform, I think it's important to think about just one or two that you can consistently post on. And that's going to be based on a few factors: where your ideal customer is hanging out online, and then what can you actually realistically produce for social media. I think with social media, it's a lot more tedious than people think. If you have attempted to post social media on your own, it is a lot more time consuming. I mean, you can easily spend 45 minutes trying to create an Instagram reel. And so you have to be very careful with how you are spending your time, especially if you're the one who's managing it. Because Okay. I'm back. I don't know what happened. I don't know if that was me, but we're back. Okay, so some content ideas. You can post behind the scenes of the process of what you're creating. You can showcase signature dishes, things that you want to be known for. You can do time lapses, for example, the process of you decorating a cake. Those are really popular. You can also showcase, the day in the life of you as a restaurant owner, as a food brand owner. What does your day-to-day look like? Those are things that people are very curious about. Also, regardless of platform, we have to remember that food is visual and we eat with our eyes. And if you're trying to get people to come in, it's really, really important that your photos and your videos are amazing quality. So it is worth it to invest in creating higher quality content, especially when it's centered around the food. When it's like a fun little video, like I'll show you an example of, it doesn't matter so much. But when you're really trying to showcase the food, you want to make sure that things like the lighting are good and that the shot is clear and that you're really taking some time to create something that is visually appealing. If you're struggling with this, there are food content creation courses and a lot of videos out there and resources that I could potentially share if we work together on just tips and tricks and how to shoot food specifically, because there is a bit of an art to it. You want to also focus on your personality as a food brand in a restaurant. What is it that makes you different? Maybe you want to stick to some kind of signature aside from your branding and your logo. Maybe there's a specific style of video that you tend to shoot or a specific aesthetic. There's something that will become memorable, especially if there's a color associated or a specific background, so that people automatically know it's you before they even look and read the name. So for example, we can look at these two photos and we can tell that the one on the left, while I'm sure that's delicious, is not really that appetizing. But the photo on the right has that sense of professionalism, of crispness. It looks like somebody actually put time and effort into taking that photo, and it is much more appealing than the first one, at least from a restaurant perspective. If your guests come and take pictures like that, that's great. But you as a restaurant, you want to really put your best foot forward in terms of what you're showcasing. Same thing with this example. There's nothing wrong per se with the example on the left. The cake looks beautiful, but we can tell this is taken pretty much just outside using daylight in somebody's backyard. This is from a random account I found in Connecticut, so I'm not bashing anybody here locally. But it's not necessarily something that is that beautiful. I mean, it's a nice looking cake, but if we look at the picture on the right, you can tell that this is styled. You can tell with the little Oreos around the plate and with the background in the kitchen, it's giving you a little bit more. It's giving you more depth. It's giving you a little bit more personality. And let's say that you did make cakes. If you always took the pictures in this same kind of format, that's how you create a signature style and a signature look that users become accustomed to. Let's see if this works. I wanted to give you an example of something that would be process kind of oriented. This is from Fireman Derek's, and this is an example of somebody making one of their ice cream sandwiches. So that video is something that you could do, let's say, if you are a fast food restaurant, fast casual, even if you are higher end, if you wanted to showcase the process of something that takes quite a long time, maybe you have some kind of, I don't know, braised lamb leg that takes a bajillion hours. You can show how that process flows through by creating this kind of style of video or a time lapse. This gives somebody an insight into how something is created and specifically how you are going to experience coming into the shop. So if I were to go into Fireman Derek's and order that, I kind of already know how they're going to make it. The next example that I want to show you is from Panther Coffee. And this is an example of a video that you can make with employees, and they're not showcasing any food right now. They are leveraging a trendy sound from TikTok.
You know, she has some problems for sure, but I think it's important to just.
She's also ugly.
Well, okay, no, I don't think that was necessary.
Right, so this is a very casual style video. They took a trending sound and they applied it to their business. So it's a mock kind of conversation between somebody that is espresso and somebody that's a seasonal drink, and they're talking about cold brew. So this is a way to have fun with your content and a way to inject personality. And this is, as you can tell, probably a very low budget kind of thing. They just needed these two people to be able to make a quick video, and that's it. So I wanted to talk briefly about resourcing for social media. Social media can be very tedious and time consuming. So if you're just starting out, my recommendation would be to try to batch content or film as you go and then edit the content later on so that you have blocks of time where you're either filming or you're editing, and that way you can stay consistent. You can start with whatever you have, focus on getting the best aesthetically pleasing shots that you can, and go from there. You will improve as you go. You don't have to wait until you are perfect to start posting. It's better to start at least with what you have and where you are and learn from that so that you can at least be building an audience and gaining some kind of traction versus just waiting for it to be perfect, and it might never be. All right. And if you have the resources, I highly recommend that you hire somebody to handle social media. You can have a social media content creator that could come into your location or your kitchen for, a day or so. They create content. They're kind of like freelance workers or gig workers. They can capture the content. They can then manage the posting of it so that you don't have to worry about it. It's not something that is going to fall on you as an owner. And social media is mainly for awareness and to establish credibility. You can absolutely drive business with social media, but initially, really what you're doing is creating a sense of awareness and letting people know that you are a legit business and that you're here. Whenever you're posting on social, do not forget your call to action. Remember that if you want social media to drive sales, you have to tell people what to do. It's not enough to just post the pretty pictures, especially if you are kind of an order-based business where you're taking custom orders for, let's say, cakes or for catering. You have to remind people what to do. It sounds overly simplistic, but you would be very surprised how effective it is. So if you're going to post on social media, literally tell them what to do. Place your order today. Book your reservation for this weekend. Come in on Wednesday because we're having a special. Give them the instruction. If you just post without giving them that context and that specific call to action, you're going to notice that you're not going to get as much engagement and you're not going to be able to really drive sales. Part of sales is sort of asking for the sale, and we do that through our call to action on social media. Something else that you can also do is make sure that you're promoting the fact that you have social media within the actual brick and mortar location. So you can set up little table tents with the QR code or set something up at the cash register. If you have a loyalty program, offer perks for following you on social media. We've all seen those little cards that they punch, at a cafe, and it's like, once you fill up the card, you get a free drink. Maybe offer them, hey, if you follow us on social media and you show me on your phone that you're following us, I'll give you an extra punch. Do things to encourage people to follow you on social. You can do giveaways and freebies. Anybody who comes in today gets a free cookie with their coffee if you follow us on social media. And also another way to promote your social media is by partnering with adjacent businesses. You can either do this by just cross-promoting one another and creating content that features one another, but you can also create something together. You could leverage each other's audiences by creating something that is limited edition to create that sense of FOMO. Maybe it's a cookie business that's going to partner with a local honey producer to create something new. Or you have a special with the place across the street, come to me for your coffee and then go over there and, get an empanada. I don't know. You guys can think of things based on what's around you and what might make sense for you. We can also talk about this through a consulting session, but leveraging other people's audiences is also a great way to get your name out. So let's do a quick little recap. I know we're at time. The 5 tips for more appetizing social media are to know your competitors and what they're doing well or not well, to understand what your service model is and how that would influence your branding, your voice, your targets, how you're showing up on social. Number 3 would be to get to know your customers, create an idea of your ideal customer profile. Who am I trying to target and what platforms are they on? Define what success looks like for you and then measure against that. determine what your goals are and make sure that you are tracking towards them, basically. And finally, to know the benefits and the downside of each platform so that you're not wasting time and you know which platforms are going to be the best for you based on your goals. We have a few little bonus tips. We talked about this a little bit, but batching content is really helpful, especially if you are kind of short on time and you're doing this on your own. There are many social media management tools that can help you on the scheduling side so that you don't have to be scheduling live. There are other social media platforms we didn't cover here that might be useful. Yelp obviously is a really big one that is mainly, I think, where people tend to go after social media and they want to read more in-depth reviews, look at photos, Google as well. There's Pinterest and Snapchat. Those are other things that you could potentially leverage and see if those are right for your business. And as your business is growing, your social media management should as well, right? So it's okay for you to initially do the posting, but as soon as you can hire in-house, it is best for you to be able to do that, whether it's an employee that helps you with that part-time or you hire a social media content creator to work freelance. It's just helpful to get that off of your shoulders. And then you want to make sure that you're leveraging the content that people are just creating on their own. The customers that are taking pictures and they're posting it and they're tagging you. Make sure that you're commenting, that you're reposting, that you're thanking them. That's a very easy way to create engagement. So we will move to questions. I will stop sharing.
And Emily, you're talking about social media. Don't you have a webinar or presentation on the 16th on social media marketing?
I do, in fact.
Perfect. Yeah. So I'll put I'll put the link in the chat so that anyone that wants to beef up their social media presence, Emily will be presenting, and it's gonna be on December 16th from 10 to 11, and I'll put the link right here, and then Michelle, your presentation that you have on in December, what is it about? For everyone selling like a pro, the master sales of skyrocketing business. What some additional tools from your presentation and today's content could parlay to enhance the business?
Sure. That presentation is going to be more on messaging and language so that you're being clear, as Emily mentioned before, on your call to action. Oftentimes as business owners, we're afraid of selling like our goods and services. But truthfully, if we don't uncover the needs of our clients and ask the right questions, then they're not going to see us as the hero of their story when they need us the most, right? So I'm also going to give actionable tools on how to use, tactics like email marketing for sales versus, just sending out an email or a newsletter. So something with the purpose of getting people to book more reservations for your restaurant or to go ahead and purchase, food catering or whatever it may be.
And then I also put there is a new program that we're working with Verizon, which is assisting all small businesses, entrepreneurs to become digital ready in today's platforms, like if it's social media, content marketing. So it's pretty much you getting the homework before the teachers give them to you. And this definitely will be able to tie in the meetings with Emily, with Michelle, with our business consultants, with the platform to give you the tools for you to be successful. And the neat feature is that those that participate in complete 2 or more courses will be eligible for grants up to $10,000. So that is a good opportunity to continue enhancing those tools to boost your business as well. Now, do we have any questions throughout today's presentation? I think I saw one, and it's about, in your experience, is buying ads on Instagram or Facebook worth it, or is it simply posting effective?
I would say that at some point, if you want to scale, investing in ads does make sense. But first, you want to make sure that you have kind of an established presence. So by posting organically, you'll start to get a feel for what might work, what might not, before you go ahead and invest money in ads. And especially before you do anything paid, it's really good to look through what your competitors are doing. If they don't have ads that are running right now, or they're not coming up for you, what you can do is actually go into the Facebook ad library. If you Google Facebook ad library, the link will pop up and you can put in their name and you can find out what kinds of ads they might have done in the past. So chances are, and this is a little tip for you, if the ad is something that has been running for several months, that means that they've probably done some testing and that was the winner. And so they're letting it run for months because it's still giving them results. So look at those ads that have a longer term shelf life, right? Not something that they just launched last week, but if you see that it goes back a few months, then chances are that's a pretty good ad for them and it's doing something. So you might want to take a look at that as inspiration, but definitely ads are worth it if you are strategic, if you really know your target audience, if you hone your messaging, if you know what it is that you are looking for from a result standpoint. Simply posting is great from an awareness standpoint and to just kind of start off. I wouldn't recommend that you just do ads and not have any kind of social media presence. I think they kind of go hand in hand. You want to make sure that you have something to show before you just run the ads, but definitely ads are great, a great tool for you to leverage.
Okay. All right.
And I would say too, like focus on like location-based targeting. But to Emily's point, like that only works if your brand looks consistent and it looks credible and trustworthy. So, many people like to focus on just Facebook, Instagram, but there are other types of ads like location-based that can help, expand your brand's awareness to everybody in your surrounding area so that they know you exist as a restaurant in that neighborhood.
All right. So I don't see any additional questions. But once again, this is a recorded webinar. So all participants will be receiving today's presentation along with the recording. But I want to thank everyone that's here present today. I want to thank Michelle and Emily in today's content. But like I said, anything that we could do to assist you with business needs, we're an email, phone call, and event away. So I want to thank everyone and have a good afternoon. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.